Hey everybody, this is Charles. Today I want to talk to you about the strategy of Wonder Unit going forward. If you like these videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I promise to be posting more videos more often, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. So, in 2020, I thought that we would basically start shooting this movie that we've been working on, developing the story for the past few years. But then coronavirus hit. And initially I thought, oh, this isn't a big deal because we can basically shift our focus over to working on Storyboarder, the tool that we develop. And that'll be cool. And then when the world comes back to normal, we'll just start production on the movie again. However, it became quickly apparent that this wasn't going to be a matter of weeks. It would be a matter of years before we sort of are able to actually go back into production. And so living in New York City, paying New York City rents, I decided to basically move out of New York City. So I bought 25 acres of land in Connecticut, and I decided that I would start building a house there and a 3,000 square foot studio, like a workshop studio that I could build stuff. But the day I moved, I started getting these really bad headaches. I guess they weren't so bad. They were just constant and dull, and really, frankly, grinding. And I just felt like a lot of my sort of health decisions were catching up to me. Previous videos, I know I said that I had sort of peaked up to about 250 pounds. When I think the last video I'd gone down to 230. Currently I'm 215. I was losing weight and I was trying to feel better about myself, but like for some reason these headaches came on and they just wouldn't go away. So I went to a bunch of doctors and I asked one of the doctors if I could get a CT scan, and so I got the CT scan sort of expecting that it would be nothing, and that I'd have to figure out what this is. But the results came back for the CT scan, and they told me that they thought that I had something called a pica aneurysm. So immediately I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? This is some news. So I was like, well, I gotta get all my stuff in order, and if my time is limited, I really gotta figure out like what I'm gonna do with the time I got, right? So I was thinking a lot about just the context of, okay, I have this thing. It's like it's serious. It's, the remedy is brain surgery, but like everything in the world kind of sucks right now, right? Like, 500,000 people will die in the United States because, everyone in the United States is really selfish right now. Everyone puts themselves before everybody else. And I was just kind of thinking like, man, maybe now is the time to not necessarily think about yourself so much and think about everybody else. I was thinking a lot about when I was a kid. I don't know what it is about I'm 40 years old. My generation is very cynical. I don't know why it is, but everything sucked. Like don't have feelings because those feelings are not real. This sort of postmodern cynicism, and people were assholes. Like nobody cared about each other. If you were in school and you sat in the front and you were, studied or you read books, you were somehow like a fucking faggot for whatever that means. Like I don't even understand that. People were just mean and horrible to each other. And I feel like that culture of people being, kind of selfish and, me first and nobody else matters was sort of, that was the culture of my generation. And 25 years later, those are the adults of the world that, everyone has to deal with. And I was like, that just sucks. And especially for young people. And I fell victim and trapped to being cynical all the time as well. And I really hate that about myself. I think it's easily my worst quality. But then I see these young kids who are like making things on the internet, and they're so creative and they're so smart. And contrary to the cynicism of my generation, everyone seems, even though they understand that they've been they've inherited a sort of bad situation, they're pretty optimistic about coming up with solutions for these problems. I just find it like really, I'm very optimistic about the future, especially when I consider the young people that have a much brighter outlook on life. And maybe it's because their parents are such big assholes that they are rebelling against them and have a much more optimistic view of the world. But I feel like those are the people that I want to get behind and really help out. And so in the context of Wonder Unit, we make this tool called Storyboarder, and initially we built it because we wanted to use it ourselves for the development of story for this movie that we're working on. But when we released it, we really didn't understand how many people wanted something like this. And so now 400,000 people use the software. And I'm so surprised, and when I get emails from people showing me the work that they've done, and I hear from schools that are using it to educate kids, and I hear from professionals who've used it on really big movies, I feel really happy that that has made such a huge, maybe it hasn't made a huge difference, but it's a little contributing part that makes storytelling a little bit better, hopefully. And so I really love that fact. And so I've sort of been thinking about, does it even make sense for me to want to produce this movie, or does it make more sense to put most of my effort behind helping other people tell their stories? And for me, that seems like such a bigger idea, or at least a more helpful idea. And if at the end of my experiment of making these tools, a few people have made some beautiful stories, and hopefully, with my help just a little bit, I'll feel super proud. And so I've sort of made this decision to place more focus and effort behind Storyboarder as a tool to help people develop, and then work on a community site where people can share visual stories, interact with other people who are telling visual stories, get feedback, get constructive criticism, and make stories, put them out there and connect with people. I just feel like there's not really a lot of positive spaces on the internet constructively, and it's particularly for visual storytelling aside, but just visual storytelling itself. So I'd really love to create a community there, have people contribute to it. And another thing I'd really love to do is for the people that really shine in that community, I'd love to create a kind of a core group of people that well, let me put it like this. In 2006, I did this thing called Y Combinator, which is kind of an incubator for startups. So they'd give you a small amount of money. You'd be able to work on your company. You can build your company up, have mentors that would come and speak to you. You'd have the benefit of all the other people that you were doing the program with. And there's sort of there's intrinsic sort of fraternity in that group. And to be honest, it's like one of my most positive memories, going through that experience. And I loved it. I thought, wouldn't it be really great if there was something similar where people that wanted to really focus on their stories, what if they were to be given some money so that they could pay for food and rent and really focus on the development of their story? And then knowing that if they take their story through to fruition, wouldn't it be great if they knew that somebody was behind them that would basically commit to producing that story into reality? So basically go from a nascent story, working on that story, iterating on it along with a bunch of other people who are doing the same thing, maybe mentored by certain particular people, and then maybe some of the very best from that group would be produced into a TV show or a movie or really whatever. I don't know, what the future holds for entertainment, but something like that, into something like that. And, using the future tools like, virtual production and all the modern technology that ideally would make it a little bit cheaper to produce. But I just think it would be fantastic if there was somebody out there that didn't think that they were a storyteller, that could go into a community and participate in this community, have a really great time, get positive feedback from the community, and then produce that thing all the way into a movie or a TV show. I just think that would be absolutely fantastic. And that just seems like so much of a bigger idea than me working on a movie I want to work on. And maybe I can do that in the future. But I just feel I'd feel so much more proud if this community could be built. So that's a sort of high level of what I want to do strategically. Now I should say that a couple days ago I was advised to get another brain scan. So I got an MRA, which is a magnetic resonance angiogram, where they pump into your blood some metal, so it goes up into your brain. And when they are taking the scan, they can see the veins. Fortunately, upon reading the higher resolution version of that imagery, they basically completely ruled out that I have an aneurysm. I still have these headaches, but not having an aneurysm has taken a complete load off. And to be totally honest, I'm kind of thankful that that I had the experience. It really made me reconsider what I want to do and how I want to approach life. And I think what I really want to do is build a community for young and maybe not so young nascent storytellers, so that they can iterate on their stories, tell them in a visual way, and then hopefully and potentially produce those into bigger things. I'd really love to create sort of the modern way of developing stories and producing them into reality, sort of like the Pixar for live action, sort of reimagined in the modern world. And yeah, I think that would be fantastic. So I guess my question to you guys is, what do you think of that idea? Is that something that is interesting to you? Um, are you guys, out there, are you potentially like somebody who would want to participate in a community like this or a program like this? Would you want to tell stories in that environment? Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what you guys think of that. I guess going forward, my main focus is going to be on short-term development of Storyboarder. We've been continuously developing it. Development has sort of not skipped a beat. And unfortunately, we have not made a release in a long time. I think because I'm always like, let's just pack one more thing in, one more thing in. We really need to just get this release out. I think a lot of people are waiting on it. Get that release out. Medium term, I want to do more YouTube videos. I want to like really connect with people on a more human basis. I feel like I've been pretty absent. I want to get my health back in order. I want to build this studio facility. I think it'd be really cool. I don't know if anybody would be interested, but I would love to update videos on the process of building that thing because it's being built from the ground up. I don't know what I'm doing, and working with contractors and architects and going through the permitting process, really interesting to me at least. What else? Yeah, I'm going to be making YouTube videos with this guy named Zach Phillips, a friend of mine, and he's working on a story. So we're kind of it's going to be like sort of a real use case of him using the tools that we're creating, and then medium term, build this community site, put it out there. Hopefully people like it, make it better over time, iterate on it. And then the last thing is to create the Y Combinator kind of first visual storytelling. And all this stuff will develop as time goes on, but that's the current strategy. Anyways, I'm sure there's a lot more stuff I could give you updates on, but that's the current update. And I just wanted to drop this, and hopefully the next videos that are coming out are more storyboarder related. Anyways, thanks so much. Bye.